step. So I'm going to go right ahead and do the topo surface now, really just to make your sections and other views where you're going to be cutting the ground look a bit better. So I'll quickly put an entry in just to have something to relate to from the outside. And so just with the door tool, I'm going to go to load family, and in the doors folder we should have an entry door. So it doesn't really matter which one you use here, but I'll use the double glass for now, I think. And I'm just going to place that roughly in the centre of that entry area there. And so now looking at the building from the outside, we can see fairly clearly where the footpath should be, and so that'll be part of our topo surface. And you could actually use a floor for that as well. That's a common option. People will use floors for lots of these ground surfaces, but it's still good to have a topo surface under it. And so back in the ground floor plan, I'm going to go to the Massing and Site tab, where you'll find the topo surface tool. Now when you do that, you'll get a warning to tell you you can't see topography in that view. That's okay, it's just a warning. So I'm going to switch now to the site plan, where I will be able to see the topo surface. So in your floor plans, make sure you're aware that you have a site floor plan already created for you. And now to create my topo surface, I'm going to go back to place point up on the ribbon. And before I click anywhere, I'm going to change the elevation to -50, just so it's a little bit below the floor that I made. And then I'm going to zoom out so that I can see all of the elevation symbols. Right, and then I'm just going to click 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, that are all outside of those north, south, east and west elevations. Okay, and that's important because we want the elevations to show a ground line. Okay, and so that's it. I've made the topo surface. I'm going to tick to finish. And then I'm going to open up the section view, section 1, and show you there that it's made my topo surface. We can see the ground line, but it's also put it through the level below. So I've got to do something extra to bring that level back. And in the 3D view we can see as well what's happening. It's maybe a little bit unclear because the floor on the inside is the same colour as the topo surface. So I'll make that a different colour. Just going to select that floor, edit type, and I'm going to quickly go in and assign a material to that. And I'll just see if the concrete cast in situ is, of course it's a similar grey, so I'll make it a little bit lighter, just to show you that the floor is showing up there and it's not the topo surface that we see inside the building. But I can guarantee you that, well, you can see actually in the stairwell that the ground is going over that and flooding that entire basement level. So we've got to go now to the basement floor plan, and you'll see also on the Massing and Site tab you have building pad. So just in the same area as topo surface, that building pad tool is kind of like a floor as well. So we can probably avoid having to add a floor for that level as well for now. So I'm just going to use the rectangle tool. I'm not going to worry about using pick wall. Oh no, so I'll use pick walls. Sorry. So yeah, I'm leaving it on pick walls there in draw panel, and I'm going to pick the outer edge of those 4 walls. Tick to finish, and now back in my 3D view, you can see that it's showing that basement level again. And if I go into my section view, if it's in the right place, well, we can see the pad there, but the section is not located all that well, so I'm going to move that section line in the floor plan up to the area where the stairs are, and I might flip it as well so that it's looking the other way. Now back into section, and I can see really clearly the building pad, but there's still a couple of little things to tweak there, so I'm going to go pretty quickly through this, but you can always look back in the video. The site settings live on that same massing and site panel. There's a little arrow you'll see at the bottom of that model site tab, and there I'm going to bring this elevation of Poche base down to -5,000. So that's brought my ground hatch down below that floor. Then another little tweak you can do is for the elevation views. So if you remember at the plan view, we can tell that the entry is on the north side. So I'm going to go to my north elevation, and we can see the entry, and that's going to be a useful view. Even though it's an interiors project, you'll still probably want to think about doing a view of that entry using the elevation. But should elevations show the ground being cut like that? No, definitely not. You want a ground line, but you don't want the ground hatch. So you can turn that off just in this view by selecting it. Select the topo surface, right click, and then you can go to override graphics in view by element. And then if you go down to cut patterns, you can just turn that off, turn the visible option off, click OK, and it takes that hatch away and just leaves the ground line. And then going into my 3D view there, we can see the topo surface, but if you orbit, you'll see that it's not showing any depth to it. Now it does have a depth, we saw that in the section, and so to get that to come up in the 3D view, firstly I'll duplicate this view just so that it's a new view, and I'll rename it section box 1, and then in properties I'm going to turn on my section box. So no, either option will work for a 3D view. Yep. And then using the arrows on the side of this control box, I can bring that in, and notice how once you're cutting that ground surface, it's going to show you the ground hatch just like it does in the other views. And so there I could even bring it back further so that we can see inside the building. And remember, section boxes can always be hidden just like anything else. When you right click, go to hide and view elements. Okay, so to access that again, you can click on the light bulb down the bottom and you can still manipulate it in that mode. Alright, so oh no, that's gone a bit too far, so I'll actually just adjust that a bit further. There we go. So that'll be a useful view until I go and change my stair, and then I'll probably change that view. So that should give you more than enough to be able to put your topo surface in, and later on we'll look at maybe what you can do if you want to add some detail and do a proper footpath.